Through the doors of the unmourned house where scoffers scoff, and schemers scheme from the halls of the oath-breaking house rings 7 curses of gods blasphemed. First curse, curse of fire. Second curse, curse of ash. Third curse, curse of flesh. Fourth curse, curse of ghosts. Fifth curse, curse of seed. Sixth curse, curse of despair. Seventh curse, curse of dreams. That was an extract from the Apocrypha of the Dissident Priests alluding to the trials the Nerevarine must face. The Dissident Priests are a secretive cult consisting of Tribunal Temple members who dispute the temple's dogmatic foundations and question the process of the Tribunal's elevation to become gods. They challenge the purity and divinity of the Tribunal, suggesting their powers are sorcerous, not divine, and perhaps akin to the powers of Dagoth-Ur. They also condemn the arbitrary power of the Ordinators and accuse the temple hierarchy of self-interest and corruption. The Dissident Priests say that the temple has always maintained a public face represented by the Hieroglypha and a hidden face represented by the Apocrypha. The public account portrays the actions of the Tribunal in a heroic light, while the hidden writings reveal secrets, untruths, inconsistencies, conflicting accounts and varying interpretations which hint at darker and less heroic motives and actions of the tribunes. The priests study, comment and gather as much of the Apocrypha as possible at their base, a secret monastery in Vvardenfell called Holamayan, hidden in the wastes of Azura's coast that was protected by a magical barrier. While challenging the divinity of the Tribunal, the dissidents do not challenge the sainthood or heroism of the Tribunal. In fact, the Dissident Priests advocate restoring many of the elements of fundamentalist ancestor worship as practiced by the Ashlanders and by Saint Veloth. The dissidents also believe the persecution of the Nerevarines is unjust and politically motivated. Many among the dissident priests have come to believe that the Nerevarine prophecies are genuine and have made a systematic study of prophecies recorded in temple archives. As a result of their beliefs, the Tribunal Temple frowned on the priests, and at some point between 3 411 and 3 427 began a crusade against the priests and drove them into hiding. In 4 05, when Bardau fell on Vivec City, triggering the events of the Red Year, support in Morrowind for the worship of Vivec, Almalexia, and Sotha Sil greatly decreased, and the dissident priests seized control of the temple, creating what they called the New Temple and organizing worship around the true tribunal of Azura, Boethia, and Mephala. There are a series of letters called the Charwich Koningja letters dated at 3 411, which reveal that there were rumors of a crusade to stamp out the dissident priests. The letter talks about a priest called Minarath and says the following.
It took some time to locate my contact, for he is a dissident priest named Minarath. The temple and tribunal, the real powers of Morrowind, tend to frown on his order, and while they haven't begun so much of crusade to stamp them out, there are certainly rumors that they will soon. This tends to make priests like Minarath skittish and paranoid.
When playing Morrowind, you meet Gilvas Barelo, a dark elf priest, who is the abbot of Holamayan Monastery and de facto head of the dissident priests, who says this.
A significant part of the temple hierarchy might be more inclined to accept and tolerate differences of opinion and dogma, but other parts of the temple, in particular, the ordinators under Beryl Sala, claim that the threat from Red Mountain and Dagoth-Ur can only be resisted with a unified, resolute faith. The people are afraid, so they support the hard line. But if we can show ourselves able to confront Dagoth-Ur more effectively than the ordinators, the temple and the people will support us.
When you meet Lord Vivec himself in Vivec City, he has this to say about the persecution of the dissident priests.
Suppression and persecution of dissent is just one of the standard tools of statecraft. I believe we erred in trusting the judgment of Beryl Sala. He and his ordinators served valiantly in the war against Dagoth-Ur. We mistook his misplaced zeal for energy and dedication. Mistakes were made, but no more. There shall be no more persecution of the dissident priests, and I hope both sides shall swiftly be reconciled.
Mara Hellas can be found in the temple courtyard in Mournhold. When you ask her about the dissident priests, she says,
Lord Vivec has forgiven the dissident priests and welcomed them back into the temple. There are still many disagreements and problems to be worked out, but things are not as bad as they used to be.
From the above interactions, we learn that the dissident priests who had been persecuted since 3E411 were forgiven and welcomed back into the temple when the Nerevarine entered Mournhold. Ultimately, the dissident priests, just like the Ashlanders were, those guys that were actually right in the end.